Wow. Just wow. Hey guys, welcome back to the Wide Right Podcast. I am your host, Alex. I'm going to take a look at some games that I was going to watch, except the Colorado game, because I know that's the most controversial one, and the officials are like, yeah. Anyways, let's take a look at some of the games that I had an eye on, along with a couple of massive blowouts. Now, what I mean by blowout is at least 30 points, all right? So, obviously, our kickoff game, Georgia Tech hosted Florida State, then the 10th ranked Florida State Seminoles, and they upset them 24-21. Montana State upset New Mexico 35-31. SMU pulled out a win at Nevada 29-24, and Hawaii pretty much defeated Delaware State 35-14. Now, a blowout is a blowout for my standards will be at least 30 points. So, if it's not more than 30 points, unfortunately, it is not considered a blowout in my book. As such, let's get going. Missouri destroyed Murray State 51-0. Utah destroyed Little Brother Southern Utah 49-0. Kansas defeated Lindenwood 48-3. Rutgers defeated Howard 44-7. UCF defeated um, New Hampshire 57-3. Central Michigan just told Central Connecticut, hey, we understand you're happy, but here's your money. Good luck in the rest of your season. And they destroyed them 66-10. Arkansas showed Arkansas Pine Bluff that they were the true Arkansas, and they won 70-0 at War Memorial Stadium in Arkansas. Toledo blew out Duquesne 49-10. And just by 2 points, Coastal Carolina nearly got on the blowout board. Tulane shut out Southeastern Louisiana 52-0. Tulsa played a very spirited Northwestern State team, but ultimately won 62-28. And Illinois destroyed Eastern Illinois 45-0. Temple hung 51 points on Oklahoma. Hung up 51 points on Temple. Imagine that were the way it was. Army defeated Lehigh 42-7. It was a copy paste in the first half and the second half for Army. They scored 7 points in the first and 14 points in the second. You can guess what happened if I say copy paste. Georgia barely blew out Clemson 34-3. Ohio State blew out Akron 52-6. Texas and Alabama started their CFP campaigns with massive wins, with the Longhorns blowing out Colorado State 52-0, and Alabama, their first game host Nick Saban, showing that the team, despite a new regime change, may still be the same old team, 63-0 over Western Kentucky. But Furman might as well just say, hey, I'm sorry, but we shouldn't have come. Because Ole Miss just hung 76 fucking points on them. Then in a matchup that a lot of people were looking at, Notre Dame beat Texas A&M 23-13 in a close matchup. Tennessee had our first nice game of the year, blowing out Chattanooga 69-3. Kansas State defeated UT Martin 41-6, a 35-point win. Miami, in another game, defeated Florida 41-17. Then Iowa, yes, Iowa, the team who can't score for shit, won 40-0 against Illinois at Kinnick Stadium, where those kids were who received the Kinnick wave, well, they're probably celebrating right now. Vanderbilt defeated Virginia Tech in the first overtime game of the season, 37-24. Maryland destroyed UConn and told them stick to basketball, which is what they're good at, 50-7. Louisville destroyed Austin Peay 62-0. And Purdue upset a lot of people who wanted to see Indiana State pull off the win, but these cream puff games are a given. With Purdue just shutting out Indiana State 49-0. I usually keep an eye on Navy and UTEP because of one simple reason, and that's UTEP plays in my favorite bowl game stadium, or my favorite bowl game host, the Sun Bowl. And Navy, I have a personal connection because I do have some members in the armed forces that are now living normal civilian lives. But I picked Navy because it's a connection to my late grandfather, who I believe was part of the underwater demolition team, which was a precursor to the Navy SEALs. Of course, Navy defeated Bucknell 49-21 with a 22nd point second quarter. Washington State defeated Portland State 70-30 and even 40. Nebraska defeated UTEP 40-7. And in our first good game of the year, Northwestern defeated Miami of Ohio 13-6. Northern Illinois defeated Western Illinois 54-15 for a 35-point win. And in the first high-scoring affair, Boise State defeated Georgia Southern 56-45. And South Carolina almost got upset by Old Dominion, but they pulled away with a touchdown in the last few minutes of the fourth. Marshall defeated Stony Brook 45-3. Mississippi State told Eastern Kentucky, thanks for coming, and they blew them out of the water 56-7. East Carolina obliterated Norfolk State 42-3. Arkansas State defeated Central Arkansas 34-31. South Florida defeated Bethune-Cookman 48-3. Baylor disseminated Tarleton State 45-3. In an upset, UNLV beat Houston 27-7. In another game, Troy almost defeated Nevada and could have taken it to overtime, but they again didn't get the 2-point conversion. Memphis defeated North Alabama 40-0. Auburn defeated Alabama A&M 73-3. UCLA defeated Hawaii 16-13 in a fun game. And in another game, the first game in Texas Tech, I believe, since the passing of Coach Mike Leach, they defeated Abilene Christian in a great game, 52-51, in a high-scoring affair. Kentucky barely makes a cut, defeating Southern Miss 31-0, although it is a little bit of an asterisk since they called the game after a lot of lightning. SMU defeated Houston Christian 59-7. Louisiana defeated Grambling, who plays in the Bayou Classic. If you've never seen that game, do yourself a favor, check it out. Louisiana won 40-10. Louisiana Tech also won in a very good game against Nichols, 25-17. San Diego State defeated Texas A&M Commerce 45-14. And another amazing game, Texas State defeated Lamar 34-27. Arizona State defeated Wyoming 48-7. And Washington defeated Weber State 35-3. And another game that I was looking at, Utah State defeated Robert Morris 36-14. I'll explain why in a moment. But let's get to the two games that occurred on the day before Labor Day and on Labor Day. On Labor Day, everybody expected Florida State to say, you know what, we lost to a good Georgia Tech team, but Boston College came in and they absolutely decimated Florida State's defense putting up 28 points in the second and third quarters, and only allowing the Seminoles a single touchdown in the third, with 6 points in the second. But the game of the week was clearly USC and LSU. I actually got to see the ending of this game because of one simple reason, which I'll explain in a moment. It looked like the game would go to overtime, but a late targeting hit, and even though it was accidental, letter of the law says, yep, it's a target. And the final touchdown basically sealed the game for USC. And Miller Moss, well, he went 27 for 36. He had one passing touchdown, but he threw for 378 yards. Not twice, but it's obviously USC or LSU. And of course, those 378 yards those 378 yards are just added on to the 372 yards he threw in the Holiday Bowl, which means he has 750 yards. Which means this man has played out of his mind in the past two games. Mason Moss, or Miller Moss actually, has thrown 7 touchdowns. Or Miller Moss he's a beast. I'm just in shock. He completed 50 passes. He went 50 for 69, nice, which is about a 73% completion average with 7 touchdowns and only 1 interception, which is incredible. I mean, everyone knew that it was going to be a good game, but my God, that's a hell of a game, man. USC could have been an 8 and yeah, USC could have been a lot worse because just last season, the 2023 USC Trojans, they were flying high, and their first 6 games, they were perfect. But then their defense reared its ugly head, losing 48-20 to Notre Dame, 34-32 on a last-second field goal by Utah, 52-42 to Washington, 36-27 to Oregon, and 38-20 to UCLA to drop them to 7-5. Their only win in that stretch was against Cal, who did know how to convert a 2-point conversion. And folks, their next game, USC's next game, is against Utah State. The reason I say I am ready to watch it is because I'm going to go there. My first ever game. And I can tell you, I'm over the moon for it. All right, now, here are the games that I'm going to be watching this week other than the obvious. All right? So in week 2, we only have 3 games tonight. Western Illinois is going to Indiana. BYU is heading to SMU. And Duke is going to go to Northwestern. And then some of the big games, we got number 3 Texas facing number 10 Michigan in the Big House. That's 9 a.m. on Fox. Arkansas to Oklahoma State, which will be on ABC and ESPN Plus. Georgia Tech, who is now 23rd ranked, is going to go to Syracuse, which is at 9 a.m. on the ACC network. And then Tennessee Tech is going to go to Georgia, which will be at 11 a.m. on ESPN Plus and SEC Network Plus. And then one game that I'm interested in is Boise. Another game I'm obviously interested in is Boise State going to Oregon, 7 p.m. on Peacock. 11 o'clock, an interesting game. Missouri State at Ball State, 11 a.m. on ESPN Plus. The reason I like it is because I like the stadium, all right? Along with UNLV and UTEP. Utah Tech will be going to UNLV at 12 p.m. The game is not televised, and if it is, it's probably a local broadcast. Southern Utah will be going to UTEP at 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Sacramento State will go to Fresno State at 7 p.m. The game will not be televised, and if it is, it's probably a local telecast. And then Oregon State will go to San Diego State, 7:30 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. And of course, the aforementioned, or not Oregon. I was typing it in. Oh yeah, Oregon State. I already said that. The Utah State versus USC. And there's another game that going to I'm going to pencil in here. It's the Mike Leach memorial game per se, because Texas Tech and Washington State were both teams he coached, and it's going to be a night for both teams because, as mentioned, Mike Leach is no longer with us. So, of course, the next podcast will not take as late. I'm sorry, I was going to record it sooner, but I kept forgetting. And of course, the games I'm going to ask that you watch if you're interested are Texas at Michigan, Missouri State at Ball State, just to see the beautiful stadium, Southern Utah UTEP, Washington State hosting Texas Tech, and of course, hosting Utah State on the Big Ten Network. All right. That's about it for me. I gotta get ready. I got a lot of shit I gotta do before I get to go. So, hopefully, I'll see you either Tuesday or Wednesday when I record the next podcast. All right? All right. I will see you all later. Enjoy the games, my friends.